Hello! In today's video, we will be talking about Intermediate Fusion 360. This video is part 1 of a 2-video series. In this video, we will be talking about tools. This video will up your skills to the next level in CAD modeling. Okay, let's get into this. What I'm going to show you how to do is functions. This is so that you can change stuff later on while you're building something. It just saves lots of time. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the Modify panel. In here, you can find Change Parameters. I would recommend clicking the 3 dots and pressing Pin to Toolbar. I'm just going to press it up here because I have it there. Now, this plus button, that's where you add parameters. Now I can name this circle diam, and I'll make the expression 20. Then I'll make the circle spacing. That will be 30. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sketch and put our center diameter circle. Now, if I type in circle, we have our options that we just created. I'll press circle diam. Now, a cool thing with this that you can do is you can write ×2, which will make it double the size, and you can basically do simple maths with it. Now, it's good, so I'll enter that. And after that, what I'll do is I will add another extrude and just call this circle spacing. Okay. Now that we have a cylinder, what I'm going to do is I'm going to the parameters. Let's say that I got this wrong and I needed to make it 40 millimeters tall. I just go into the parameters and I change this to 40. Now you can see up here that it changed. Now that we know how to do parameters, let's look at an example. This will show you the power of using parameters and functions. I'm going to open my parameters menu and let's see the parameters that I've got. You'll notice that I've added tolerancing. Tolerancing is useful for when we need to put 2 parts together. Let's take a look at the circle diameter parameter. Instead of having to change this throughout all 4 sketches, I can just change it in this parameters menu. I'll change this to 25 and you can see it makes it a whole lot thicker. Now let's take a look at the sketch. I'll go into this sketch. We can see here that this is simply circle diameter plus tolerancing. But let's take a look at the middle sketch. I'm going to press finish, then go to the next sketch. We can see here this is 12.9. It still uses circle diameter and tolerancing and no other parameters. I've just done division by 2. This is where you can use maths in your projects. Now let's go back and take a look at the model. Now let's go into the parameters menu and change something. I'm going to change it to 29 and you can see that the circle diameters change throughout the whole model. Now I'm going to show you how to use Loft and a few other cool features. Now, I'm going to show our sketch again. I'm going to choose Offset Plane in Construct. I'm going to click on the floor plane, and then I'm going to go Circle Spacing. Okay. Now this is just like one of these planes, except it's up here. Now I'm going to create a center diameter circle, and I'm going to make this circle diameter. I'll probably go 1.25. There we are. Now, what we can do is we can go into Create, and from there we can find a loft just here. Now all we need to do is we need to click on the circles. Click the bottom one first, then the top. You can see here that it has created a loft. With the extrude, you cannot do this. You can see that it has a slight angle. That's because profile 2 is smaller diameter than profile 1. Next, I'm going to show you how to add guide rails. So I'm going to go Cancel. Now, I'm going to create a sketch on the side pane. From here, I can click 3-point arc. This can be useful if you want to create things like nose cones. You click either the bottom or top ones first, and then after that, you choose wherever you want to make your circle. I'm just going to do it out here for now, even though it's not very precise, but it's fine. Now, I'm going to press Line. In here, we can choose the line type. I'll choose Center Line. Because this is a center line, I'll make it right in the center just like that. Now I'll just press Tick. And then, instead of having to copy that one exactly on the side somehow, instead we just choose Mirror. This is exactly what it says, it mirrors it. Now, because we've chosen center line on the line, the mirror line is already selected. With objects, we just select our curve. And now I press OK. What we can do is we can go back into the loft, add our 2 profiles, except this time let's add some guide rails. Click the plus here, and then choose both guide rails. Now that I have this weird shape, I want it to look a bit better. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the loft, then go back into Sketch 3. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these lines. I'm going to click on this line, then hold Shift and click on the other line. I'll just copy it using Ctrl-C. Press Finish Sketch. Then I'll add a sketch on the other side. Now, all I have to do is I just press Ctrl-V. Okay. Now I need to make sure that all sketches are shown. And here we are. Now we can create our loft. Choose our 2 points. Then click plus and add the guide rails. Okay, this is the shape that we've made. The loft is a good use for making unconventional shapes that you think aren't possible with Fusion 360. Okay, now I'm just going to quickly create a new circle, and then because I didn't delete the parameters, I can go circle diameter. And I can also go circle. We can also just go circle spacing, it doesn't matter too much. I'm going to go ×2. Now that I've created this circle, I'm going to press thread, and then I'm going to click on this face. We can see here that this doesn't really look like a thread, and the problem is that we haven't selected modeled. If we do select that, you can see that this is what we need. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to untick full length. And I'm going to change the length to 5 millimeters. Now, in the designation, you can change the size of the thread. I am going to choose a nice 1.5. Just perfect. Now, we can leave everything else, but do keep in mind you can use an offset, and so if I just set this for 5, you can see that it created the thread in the middle, except right now we're not going to do that. If we press OK, here we can see that we've got our thread. Now I'm going to choose a section analysis and press on the side. Now we have this amazing side view of our model. Now let's say that we wanted the other part to fit on the thread. For now, I'm going to hide the bodies, and then I'm going to press Create Sketch, and again, do it flat. Now, I'll make this 40, and then after that, I'll make this about 20. Okay, now that we have the sketch, I can extrude this circle, and I'll make it circle spacing times 2. Okay. Now we do need to remember to show bodies, except we need to hide this body. Now if we turn off the analysis, then what we can do is we have this part here. I'll press thread, then I'll select the part that we want. It'll also be a bit more helpful if we choose analysis. I can press model. Now, if I untick full length, and we remember it was 5 millimeters, I'm gonna go back to the thread, choose 1.5 because that's what we did choose for the latest one. And now, if we show body 2, we can see that we have our thread. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into body 3, I'm going to select extrude on its lower half, and then I'm going to go negative 35. Now we can see that we can screw on the parts. However, we do need some tolerance. What I'll do for this is I'll hide body 3 for now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select press pull. This is in the modify space. I'm going to select there and go at negative 0.2. And I'll just copy that. And now, because we did it on the top, we have to do it on the bottom. I'm going to select orbit, make it a bit easier, and then after that, I'm going to select press pull, and then on the bottom, we just zoom in a bit. There we are. I'm going to go distance negative 0.2. Okay. Now that we've done that, what we're going to do next is we're going to do it to body 2. Press pull. Okay, now if we show body 2, then we can see that it is nicely toleranced. Do keep in mind that you're not forced to do 0.2. You can do whatever tolerance you want. The point of the tolerancing is so that when you actually come to screw it, you can get it on. Without it, you wouldn't be able to. I've found that this is necessary each time that I do a thread. Okay, here I have our circle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a sketch on the side. From here, I'm going to go into Create. In here, we can add text. Now what we're doing is we're going to add some text onto this circle. Now it doesn't matter the size of it, so I'm just going to make it like that for now. And then we can write in text. You can make it bold, italic, but I'm just going to leave it as it is. This can be useful for writing part numbers or identifiers. Okay, the height is basically the size, and so I'm going to change it to 5. Okay, I could make it a bit bigger, so I'm going to do 7. Alright, now we can flip it horizontally or vertically, except I'm not going to do that. Now I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And now I can just move it to where I want. Except I want to align it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so that I can actually see the edges of our body. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press P for project, and then I'm going to click on our object and press OK. Now that we've gotten these lines, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a line and then attach the corners of it like this. Now from there I can get a rough position of where I'm going to put the text. Now I'm going to move this text about what looks like in the center, and I'm going to resize this. Now that we've got in our text, we can emboss it. I'll press Finish Sketch. Now if we just hide the body for 1 second, then we go Create, then Emboss. We click on the sketch profile that we want, then show the body, and then choose the face. Now if we turn analysis off, we can see that it shows up there perfectly. But let's say that we want to make it as an indent. This is what I prefer doing. I'll select Deboss and you can change the depth. You can see that we've got our text here. With this arrow, you can rotate it around the circle. And then with this arrow, you can move it up or down. And then with this the depth. Now I'm going to leave the depth as -2. And there we go. We've embossed it. Embossing it is especially useful when you have a specific front and back side. Okay, now what I'm going to show you how to do is multiply using a pattern. This is useful for replication for multiple parts. To find the pattern multiplication, we got to go into Create, then down here we can find it in Pattern. There are 3 options, however I usually do circular or rectangular. Circular is more for rocketry, as rocketry usually follows circles. For rectangular, it's usually for everything else and you just want it multiplied. Now, I'm going to use rectangular for this example. I'm going to press on the object that we want, and then for the axis, I'm going to press the X axis. Now, what we can do is we have these two arrows to drag out. I'm going to drag out this one and also this one. We can see here that it's made 9 multiplications of it. Now what we can do is we can change the quantity of the amount of circles that we have created. Now I'm going to leave this at 2 on each. We have 4 of these here, however it's cut the workload into a quarter. Okay, I have again reset this, except what I've left is I've left our circle sketch. Now what I'm going to show you how to use is the deeper functions in things like the revolves and extrudes. Now, I'm going to press extrude because that's how we've made it. Now again we can change the distance, but there's a bunch of other options. We have the direction. If you choose symmetric, it'll copy the exact amount on the other side, because if I change this to 55, the other side will follow. Now for 2 sides, if I change this one back to 50, you can see that the other one stays at 55. This is useful if you want to use less extrudes. The next thing is the operation. You can join something, you can cut something, and you can also make a new body or a new component. This can be useful if your timeline is full. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you learned something new about Fusion 360. See you in the next video.